أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، خاتم النبيين بالقاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to Tuesday night Tawassul Program. Inshallah, before we get started with the dua, just quickly the announcements. Inshallah, on this coming Thursday, Shabbat Jummah program, we will be celebrating the prosperous birth of our fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam, which is on the 1st of Rajab, and as well as the wiladat of our 10th Imam, Imam Muhammad Ali al-Naqi alayhi salatu wassalam, which falls on the second day of the month of Rajab. Thursday night would also mark the first Shabbat Jum'ah of the month of Rajab, and therefore we will also have the Amal of Laylatul Raghaib after the program. And then this coming Saturday, we will commemorate the Shahadat of our 10th Imam, which will be on Saturday, 5th of February. Program starts at 5:39. Imam Ali Naqi alayhi salatu wassalam with Salatul Maghrib, and inshallah program will start at 5:39, followed by Salam Marsiya, and inshallah the Majlis. Do attend all of these programs as well as all the other programs that are inshallah coming up in this exciting month of Rajab, which is upon us. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك وأتوجه إليك بنبيك نبي الرحمة محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله، يا إمام الرحمة يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين، يا علي بن أبي طالب، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد، يا قرة عين الرسول، يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيهة عند الله، اشفعي لنا عند الله. يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي، أيها المجتبى يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي أيها الشهيد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن الحسين يا زين العابدين يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها الباقر يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا عبد الله يا جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا موسى بن جعفر أيها الكاظم يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي يا ابن موسى أيها الرضا يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها التقي الجواد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي يا ابن محمد أيها الهادي النقي ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها الزكي العسكري ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وسي الحسن والخلف الحجة أيها القائم المنتظر المهدي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. Ask for your hajat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يا سادتي وموالي إني توجهت بكم أئمتي وعدتي ليوم فقري وحاجتي إلى الله وتوسلت بكم إلى الله واستشفعت بكم إلى الله فاشفعوا لي عند الله واستنقذوني من ذنوبي عند الله فإنكم وسيلتي إلى الله وبحبكم وبقربكم أرجو نجاة من الله فكونوا عند الله رجائي يا سادتي يا أولياء الله صلى الله عليهم أجمعين ولعن الله أعداء الله ظالميهم من الأولين والآخرين آمين رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. لأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات فاتحة. Please recite Surah Fatiha and 3 times Surah Ikhlas for all of your marhumin. And a special request for marhum Mir Haidar Ali Bakri ibn Mir Ahmed Ali Bakri. Let us also recite this dua, this ayat from Surah Naml together 5 times for all of those people who are in need of dua, those who are suffering, struggling, going through difficult time, physically, spiritually, financially. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them a quick and full recovery. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء ويجعلكم خلفاء الأرض أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد، فقال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن عدة الشهور عند الله 12 شهرا في كتاب الله يوم خلق السماوات والأرض منها 4 حرم ذلك الدين القيم فلا تظلموا فيهن أنفسكم. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. The verse that I recited is from Surah Tawbah at number 36, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses by saying that indeed the number of months with God is 12, in accordance with the law since the day He created the heavens. يَوْمَ خَلَقَ السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And out of these 12, 4 of them are holy, sacred, and this is the straight reckoning. So do not exceed yourselves during these months. Month of Rajab is an important month in our Islamic calendar. There are many fadail of this month that are mentioned. For example, the Holy Prophet is quoted as saying that Ala inna Rajaba shahrullah, that indeed the month of Rajab is the month of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَهُوَ شَهْرٌ عَظِيمٌ. It is a great, great month. إِنَّمَا سُمِّيَ الْعَصَمْ لِأَنَّهُ لَا يُقَارِنُهُ شَهْرٌ مِنَ الشُّهُورِ حُرْمَةً وَفَضْلًا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. The reason it's called Rajab al-Asam is because no other month can stand besides it or could be compared to as far as the hurmat and the fadilat of this month is concerned. وَكَانَ أَهْلُ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ يُعَظِّمُونَهُ فِي جَاهِلِيَّتِهَا فَلَمَّا جَاءَ الْإِسْلَامُ لَمْ يَزْدَدْ إِلَّا تَعْظِيمًا وَفَضْلًا. And of course, even in the people in the time of Jahiliyyah used to exalt this month, keep this month to be sacred and respect this month. And when Islam came, if anything, it increased in the azamat of this month. There's an interesting tradition under this ayat of Quran, which I recited from Surah Tawbah, ayat number 36, which says, Inna iddat al-shuhur inda Allah ithna ashara shahran, that there are 12 months in the sight of Allah. There's a riwayat where a person asked our fifth Imam, Abu Ja'far, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam, أن تعويل قول الله عز وجل إن عدة الشهور, regarding the qawl of Allah and the ta'wil of this qawl, that what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mean when He says that the number of months. قال فتنفس سيدي. Imam, this person is saying that Imam took a breath, deep breath, and تنفس ثم قال يا جابر. Oh, Jabir. This is probably not Jabir ibn Abdullah. This is probably Jabir Juhfi, because this is from 5th Imam, and Jabir ibn Abdullah did not narrate from our 5th Imam. This is probably Jabir al-Juhfi. Say, Ya Jabir, amma sunnatu fahiya jaddi Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa shuhuruha 12 shahran fahuwa amirul mu'mineen wa ilayya وإلى ابن جعفر وابنه موسى وابنه علي وابنه محمد وابنه علي وإلى ابنه الحسن وإلى ابنه محمد الحادي المهدي 12 إماما حجج الله في خلقه وأمناؤه على وحيه. And then Imam, he continues, وَعِلْمِهِ وَالْأَرْبَعَةُ الْحُرُمُ. So I'll explain what it said. And it says, as far as the four which are muhtaram, الَّذِينَ هُمُ الدِّينَ الْقَيِّمُ أَرْبَعَةٌ مِّنْهُمْ يَخْرُجُونَ بِاسْمٍ وَاحِدٍ عَلِيٌّ أَمِيرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ علي ibn al-Hussein, Ali ibn Musa, Ali ibn Muhammad, and ila akhir. Imam took a deep breath. Upon this question of Jabir regarding this ayat, Imam took a deep breath and then said, Sunnat of Allah, that in the Tashur in the Allah Ithna Ashara Shahran, this Sunnat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to the noble Prophet. Then 12 months are my grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, my father, Imam Zain al-Abidin, then me, and he counted all the way up till the 12th Imam, Imam Mahdi, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. He said, these 12 Imams are the Hujjat of Allah and his proofs amongst the people, his trustees on the revelation and knowledge. So Imam gave the analogy that 12 is a reference to the 12 Imams. Then he said the four sacred months, Arba'atun minhum hurum, as the ayat continues, that there are 12 months, 4 of them are respected and sacred. He said it refers to 4 Imams who share the same name. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib. My father, Zain al-Abid, Ali ibn Hussein, Zain al-Abidin. And then Ali ibn Musa, which is Imam al-Rada. And then Ali ibn Muhammad al-Jawad. He said, the right deen is recognizing these Imam. فَلَا تَظْلِمُوا فِيهِمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ. Meaning, bring faith to them and seek guidance from them. Also, this is, at another place where Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari asked Rasulullah, وَمَا إِدَّةُ الْأَئِمَّةِ. And of course, Rasulullah explained to him that these 12 Aimma and the names of these 12 Aimma as mentioned by Rasulullah. Rajab, of course, is the 9th month in the Islamic calendar. It means to commemorate something due to its exalted nature. This month also takes its name from the same veneration as it was celebrated in the time of Jahiliyyah. And this sunnat continued after Islam came. So as I mentioned before, nothing decreased as far as the azamat of this month is concerned. If anything, it increased. Interestingly, in our narration, this month has been mentioned with much grandeur, taqaddus, and exaltedness, and has virtues which demand certain amal and deeds in it. 6th Imam is quoted, said, month of Rajab is asab, or in some places asam, or both words are used for it, which means to sprinkle abundantly. So you're sprinkling, but you're sprinkling abundantly. Since in this month, the mercy of Allah sprinkles abundantly. That if you want to get a hold of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the right time. And our 7th Imam added, he said, Rajab is the name of a river in the heaven, which is brighter than milk and sweeter than honey. Therefore, if a person fasts one day in this month, Allah will make this person drink from this river. And there are 2 types of amal that are recommended in this month. One is on daily basis, such as fasting. Other specific are on certain nights and certain days, such as Laylatul Raghaib, which is the first Friday night of the month of Rajab. Ayyamul Bid, or the Layalil Bid, the bright nights and the days, the nights which are 13th, 14th, and 15th of the month, when moon is the brightest. Amongst the amal is fasting, of course. People, I know many of our own community members, and in our Indian Pakistani culture as well, there's great emphasis on fasting, from the month of Rajab, and then month of Shaban, and then connecting the month of Shaban with the month of Ramadan. 6th Imam said, Prophet Nuh embarked on his ark on the first day of Rajab, and commanded his companions to fast on this day, and said, whoever fasts on this day, the fire of hell will move, a year away from him. Sometimes you hear these istilahat, light years away. Imam used a similar istilah in the terminology, that the fire of hell will move a year away from this person. In another narration, 100 years away from this narration. Whoever fasts for 3 days, of course, aside from Jannat becoming obligatory upon this individual, there are many other things that are associated with it. And then whoever fasts for 7 days in this month, 7 doors of hell will be closed upon this individual. And if a person fasts for 8 days in this month, 8 doors of heaven will open for this one person. And ilakhir, it continues as you continue to add on to it. It says, Ala faman sama min rajabin yawman imanan wa ihtisaban istawjaba radwan Allah al-akbar wa atfa'a sawmuhu fi dhalika al-yawm ghadab Allah wa aghlaqa anhu baban min abwabin nar. That a person who fasts for 1 day, imanan wa ihtisaban, with full faith and accountability, istawjaba, it becomes wajib, that radwan Allah al-akbar, wa atfa sawmuhu, his fast extinguishes the on that day, on the day of judgment, ghadab Allah, the ghadab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, extinguished on this day. Wa aghlaqa anhu baban min abwabin nar, and of course the doors of Jahannam are closed upon this individual. Second is specific adhkar, specific recitations and readings. Prophet said, whoever recites the following dhikr 100 times during Rajab and then gives charity after that, when he meets Allah on the day of judgment, he will be told, you acknowledged my sovereignty, now ask whatever you want and I'll fulfill your dua. And no one can fulfill except me. What is the dhikr to be recited 100 times during the entire month? Very easy. You all know the dhikr. It's just that sometimes we don't know what to recite when. There's a great deal of emphasis on reciting certain adhkar at certain time. We had a discussion on Tawassul another time, where we mentioned that each day is associated with one of the imams, and some of the days are associated with more than one imam, to do tawassul with that imam and then also recite certain adhkar. And ulama akhlaq and ulama irfan, the teachers who then guide their students, they give them specific adhkar, dhikr, to read, and in the amount that they should be recited. That's why you find, read this 100 times, read this 7 times, read this 40 times. There's reason behind it, because these are asrar and rumuz. These are keywords, these are passwords. Let me put it that way. If you want to enter into your account, you got the username, but as long as you keep on entering the wrong password, you will not gain access to the account. Whether it be your email account, whether it be your bank account, whether it be your anything else, you got to have the correct combination. And when that correct combination is done, for example, someone's password is their name, as could be the case. You enter the name, you say, well, I entered the entire name, full name. Maybe part of the name is the password. The entire name is not going to do the job there. So similarly, these azkar, maybe the example wasn't the greatest of the examples, but you got the point, where reciting at a specific time, which is mentioned by the imams, has its benefits and effects, certain effects that we sometimes don't realize. So reciting this dhikr 100 times is recommended by the Holy Prophet. What is the dhikr? Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa hu wahdahu la sharika lah wa atubu ilayh. 3 portions. One is Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa huwa wahdahu la sharika lahu wa atubu ilayh. So You can divide it. You know all these three things. Astaghfirullah alladhi. Number two, La ilaha illa huwa wahdahu la sharik wa atubu ilayh. Three things put together makes one dhikr. Now you may have recited these individually, but putting them together in this tarkeeb and reciting it 100 times is what Rasulullah has mentioned, which has keys to opening certain secrets. Prophet also recommended reciting La ilaha illallah 1,000 times, and Allah will write 100,000 rewards in the record book. La ilaha illallah, it's, when you refer to the Asma A'zam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the attributes of Isma A'zam, remember the story of Asif ibn Barkhia, who was able to carry the throne of Bilqis from Yemen to Palestine, which is still a mind-boggling phenomena, which we can't still figure out. Scientifically speaking, it's impossible for people to even comprehend this. But the waqia and this story is there in Quran, and therefore it's something which is not deniable. When Imam was asked how was he able to perform this miraculous action, with all the technological advancement today, insan is qasir, ajiz of doing something like this. Imam said he had ilmun min al-kitab. He had the knowledge of the book. And then it was referred to as that he had the ilm of Ismi A'zam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As many other beings were given this ilm of of Ismi A'zam. Quran mentions regarding Gog and Magog, Yajuj and Majuj, how they misused it, and other beings as well. But Asif ibn Barkhia, because he knew Isma A'zam, he was able to perform this miraculous action in the blink of an eye, and was able to bring the throne of Bilqis. One of the features of Isma A'zam is that these are the names, Allahu Alam, mentioned, has no dots. So therefore in Ayatul Kursi, there's Isma A'zam as well. And most likely it would be this La ilaha illallah, because La ilaha illallah does not have any dots in it. So these are some of the amal that are mentioned as far as the specific dhikr and the readings. There are certain specific amal which are to be performed on regular basis. For example, the recitation of dua, Ya man arjuhu li kulli khair, after every wajib salat during the month of Rajab. We normally do that in our programs at Masjid. Whenever we have regular prayers, we recite this dua. Performance of ghusl on the 1st, 15th, and the last night. Specific salat, the first, Friday night, Laylatul Raghaib, the 12 rak'at prayer. There's so much emphasis on that prayer. Then fasting in the bright nights, Layali al-Bid, 13th and 14th and the 15th. It is highly recommended to fast those 3 nights, or those 3 days rather. I'tikaf, performing Umrah, as well as ziyarat of Imam Hussein and Imam Ali ibn Musa Rada, alayhim as-salatu was-salam. And there's a tradition regarding this salat, which is performed on the first Friday night, that, when the person will enter his qabr, the first night of the qabr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send the thawab of the salat in the most beautiful, existence or being. It says, fi ahsana suratin, the most beautiful face. And, this, and also biwajhi talaqin wa lisani talaqin, in the most beautiful voice, in the most beautiful face. And this will say, oh, ya habibi, abshir faqad najawta min kulli su'in. Have, good news for you, that you have been salvaged from all the evils. So the person will ask, who are you? I've never seen such a beautiful face. I've never heard such beautiful kalam. I never smelled such beautiful fragrance. And the salat will respond, Ana thawabu tilka salat. I'm the reward of that salat which you prayed on that night, from that month, in that year. And I have come to go ahead and bring you out of this wahshat, this terror, and provide some unsiyat to you at this night where everyone is, feeling wahshat when you are buried, which is the first night after the burial. So why aren't other months considered sacred? Why can't we just declare other months to be sacred? Well, Allah is the lawmaker. No one has the right to stipulate laws except those whom he has bestowed this right to. That's why, it says, whatever Rasulullah has given to you, take it. Whatever he has made forbidden, refrain from it. Laws are based on the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A majority of these things are unknown to us. So from Surah Qadr and the following hadith, it can be understood that Ramadan is superior to these sacred months. Wow. Quran says, Arba'atun Hurum, these four are Muhtaram, which is Rajab, Dhul Qada, Dhul Hijjah, and Muharram. Muharram al-Haram, Dhul Qada al-Haram, Dhul Hijjah al-Haram, and Rajab, which is Rajab al-Murajjab, and of course, Haram. So these four are Muhtaram. But Riwayat mention, and Surah Qadr also mentions, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr, and we have revealed on the night of Qadr, the blessed night, that month of Ramadan is superior to all of these months, although it is not considered to be amongst these four sacred months. And there's a person by the name Ibad ibn Suhaib. He narrates from sixth Imam that I asked him, tell me, is Abu Dhar superior or has more virtues than you? Clearly not understanding the position of Imam. But nonetheless, people had these questions they asked. Imam replied, Ibn Suhaib, how many months are there? He said 12. He said, how many are sacred? He said 4. He said, is Ramadan part of these 4? He said, no. He said, which is superior, Ramadan or these 4 sacred? He said, Ramadan, of course. And then says, similarly, us Ahlul Bayt cannot be compared with anyone. You want to compare mankind? Compare those who are fallibles with each other. Infallibles, don't put them on the same category. Does the punishment become double as well, as since the indemnity money is increased during this month? One of the reasons why it is Muhtaram, considered to be month which is sacred, is because it was the indemnity and going to war. Even the wars at the time of Jahiliyyah would come to a pause. They will stop. They would halt the fighting in this month. Rajab, Muharram, Dhul Qada, Dhul Hijjah. Dhul Qada, Dhul Hijjah, and Muharram we can understand because it was the Mawsam of Hajj. People go to Hajj. So people are safe from any attacks during the month of Dhul Qada. The bandits, even they will respect that they won't attack people. And after having performed Hajj, they will be returning back. By the time they get home, it'll be Muharram al-Haram. So these 3 months were sacred. That if you were caught, doing something like this, or in fighting or attacking, the blood money is doubled in this month. And of course, there's aside from this, there are other punishments which are increased. So there's a tradition which is on the contrary. Yes, the blood money is twice since it's a sacred month. But Imam Qadim said, Rajabun shahrun azimun yudaifu Allahu fihi al-hasanat wa yamhu fihi as-sayyi'at. Rajab is the month where Allah increases your good deeds and removes your sins. That is as far as the fadilat of this month itself is concerned. While the severity of the actions, if a person was to commit evil and mischief outside of these months, they would be punished, but the punishment would be doubled in this month due to the holiness and the grandeur of this month. Rajab is considered to be Shahrullah. In some tradition, it's considered to be Shahru Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam, primarily because of the wiladat of Amir al-Mu'mineen that takes place in this month. But traditions also talk about that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he has associated a house with him, it's Baytullah. And if he has associated a month with him, it is Shahrullah. Now, Shahr Ramadan, Allah doesn't call it to be his month, rather he considers it to be, the host. And we are considered to be the wife and the mehman and the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So from this aspect, we understand the importance of this month of Rajab. I'll conclude with this one tradition where it highlights on this importance that the Prophet said, "Ala inna Rajaba wa Sha'bana shahraya wa shahra Ramadan shahru ummati." Or, "Inna Rajaba shahrullah wa Sha'banu shahri wa Ramadan shahru ummati." That indeed, month of Rajab is the month of Allah. Sha'ban is my month, meaning associated with me. And Ramadan is Shahru Ummati, is the month which is associated with my Ummat. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he gives us the tawfiq, that we are able to utilize the benefits of this month of Rajab, which is upon us. Most likely Thursday will be the first of the month of Rajab based on the moon sighting. And we have this time ahead of the beginning of the month to make a schedule, just like you have a timetable and schedule for everything. Make a timetable and schedule so that you're able to benefit from the ibadat, take time out, specifically attend the programs like the first Shab Jum'ah, the nights of the Wiladat of Ma'sumin, especially the 13th of Rajab and the Wiladat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he accepts our amal in this month and as well as in other months, that he hastens the reappearance of our awaited Imam and makes us amongst the helpers and the soldiers of Imam. Wa akhir da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah, assalamu alaikum ya Nabi Allah, assalamu alaikum ya Habib Allah, assalamu alaikum ya Khiyarat Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum ya Abu Abdullah, assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah, assalamu alaikum wa ala jaddika wa abika wa ala ummika wa akhika wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum ya Gharib al-Ghuraba, assalamu alaikum ya Mu'in al-Du'afa wal Fuqara, assalamu alaikum ya Shams al-Shumus wa Anis al-Nufus, أيها المدفون بأرض توصلي ابن موسى رضا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليك إمام الإنس والجان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. أجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك وجعلنا من أعوانك وأنصارك ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله